Okay, so multiplying is super easy and dividing, okay? The big thing that you need to keep in mind today is anything you do with a number in front of the radical, you can only multiply, divide, simplify, etc. to something else that's in front of a radical. Meaning that, for example, down here, let's see here, I can deal with the 5 and the 5. I can't deal with the 5 and the 15 because one's inside and one's outside. Does that make sense? So we like to keep outside with outside and inside with inside. Okay? Now, right here, I don't have any numbers outside, do I? I only have numbers inside, but they're both inside, so if they're both inside, I can multiply them. What is 12 times 15? 12 times 15 is 180. So I really have the square root of 180. And then once I get to here, I do what we've been doing for the past several days. Draw my tree. 18 and 10, 5 and 2, 9 and 2, 3 and 3. What comes out?
3 and 2.
A 3 and a 2 and a 5 is left inside, so I have 6 rad 5. Easy? Okay. So this one, I have one that has a number outside. So if there is no number outside here, it's basically like it's a 1. So I would multiply the 1 times a 5, which gives me 5, right? Outside times outside gives me something else that is outside. Inside, I have 5 times 10, which is 50. Draw my tree. 5 and 10, 5 and 2. So I have a 5 outside. I can take out another 5. And then the 2's inside, so I have 25 rad 2. Does that make sense? It's pretty easy, isn't it? There is the option, if you want to, you can draw a tree at the start. So you could do 6 and 2, 3 and 2. So you could call this 2 rad 3. And you could do the same thing here and then multiply. But I think that's actually a little more work. Because you have to simplify, simplify, multiply. That's 3 steps in my brain. Rather than multiply, simplify, which is only 2 steps in my brain. So you can go that way though. So what would I do in number 3? They're both inside. So what would I get? Rad 12? Yeah? And then I draw my tree. I can take out a 2 and 3's left inside. Please tell me that's as easy as I feel like it is. Okay, you do number 4. What do I get? 5 radical 2? Is that what you got? Beautiful. All right, how am I making it a little more difficult in number 5? Parentheses, which means what? What if I have something outside parentheses? What do I do with it? Distribute it, right? So, in other words, I have 3 rad 15 times 3. What am I going to multiply this 3 by? The 3, because it's not in parentheses, right? What is that going to give me?
9.
Rad 15. And then right here, 3 rad 15 times rad 10. What am I going to get there? 3 radical 150, right? Because 15 times 10. Yeah? Now, today, I want you to stop right there. Okay? Today I just want to see that as your answer. Tomorrow we're going to talk about how do you add and subtract. But today I want you to stop right there. Does that kind of make sense? So what would I get here? What's rad 15 times 5? 5 rad 15, right? I can't multiply the numbers because one's outside, one's inside. Rad 15 times negative 5 rad 3 would be negative 5 rad what? 45. And again, just stop right there. Okay. So? What's next? Double parentheses. So what do I do there? You can either double distribute, or some people are taught a box method of multiplying. I use double distribute just because I'm too lazy to draw a box. So I'll show you the box method later when we get to other things. But right now, here's double distribute. I'm going to distribute the 5, and then I'm going to distribute the 5 rad 3. So I'm going to start off with 5 times negative 2. What does that give me? Negative 10. And 5 times radical 3 would be positive 5 radical 3. So that's the first distribute. And then the second distribute, I take the 5 rad 3 and multiply it by negative 2. What does that give me? Negative 10 rad 3. And then 5 rad 3 times rad 3 would be positive 5 rad what? 9? Yes? And that's where I want you to just stop. Tomorrow we'll go further with it, but today just stop right there. Okay? So? All right, you do number 8. So what am I going to distribute first? Negative 5. So negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. What about negative 5 times radical 5? Negative 5 radical 5, right? Okay. Now I'm going to do the second part of the distributing. I'm going to distribute the radical 5. So what's radical 5 times 3? 3 radical 5. And then radical 5 times radical 5 would be radical 25. And we're going to stop right there. So? Okay, that's the extent of multiplying that we're going to do today. Now we're going to go on to what? Dividing. So, dividing has a similar rule in that you can divide, or it's more reducing than dividing, something inside a radical with something else inside a radical, or something outside with something outside. So this one doesn't have anything outside, but can I reduce 5 over 15? What does it reduce to? Square root of 1 over square root of 3. Are either of those things that I can actually take the square root of?
No.
You sure? What's the square root of 1? 1, right? Isn't the square root of 1 1? So I actually want to go to here. So if I can take the square root, take the square root. Number 10. What can I do? Well, I have a 5 outside and a 5 outside. So what can I do with them? I can cancel them. Can 6 over 15 reduce? They're both divisible by 3. If I divide by 3, I get 2 and 5. So I'm left with radical 2 over radical 5. Pretty quick, huh? Okay. All right, you try the remaining 4. All right, number 11. Excuse me. Does the 3 have anything it can reduce with? No, because there's nothing else outside. So I know that there's going to be a 3 on top in my answer. What about 8 over 20? I can divide by what? That gives me 2 over 5. So I have 3 radical 2 over radical 5. Easy peasy? All right. Can 3 over 5 reduce? What about 9 over 6? Can cut it by 3. If I divide by 3, I get 3 and 2. So I have 3 radical 3 over 5 radical 2. Get it? Okay. Number 13, the 2 has nothing to cancel out with. What about 8 and 10? I can cut those both in half, right? Excuse me. So I get 2 radical 4 over radical 5. And then finally the last one, which was kind of the trick question. What's my answer? That. Because nothing cancels, right? 5 over 3 can't reduce, and 2 over 3 can't reduce. Yes?
I have a question for number 13.
Mm-hmm.
Can't you do 2 radical 4 and then you'll get 2, like if you do it, if you break it?
Like if I draw a tree for 8,
Yeah.
you can?
No, like not for 8, for 4, 2 and 4,
Oh,
like simplify.
thank you. You caught me. Pretend like I didn't box this. I have a 2, but what is radical 4?
2.
So that's really 2 times 2 with no radical anymore. Over radical 5. So it should be 4 over radical 5. That should be my boxed answer. Thank you for catching me there. Everybody understand why number 14, it is its own answer? Because 5 over 3 doesn't reduce, and 2 over 3 doesn't reduce. We good? All right. Happy studying.